Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Triple B Experience. I'm your host, Bad Bubba Brewer, and tonight is all nights that I am so honored, ladies and gentlemen, to bring in one of the best professional wrestlers that ever come out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And tonight he's going to say what he's going to be doing this weekend. But ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the Triple B Experience, former ECW World Heavyweight Champion, the man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the franchise, Shane Douglas. Shane.
I'm gonna start paying you. Come on the road with me. You make the introductions every night for me.
I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes, brother. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Look, you said we've never met before, but I've always heard your name around. Ned was just putting me over to you over to me last night after I guessed the thing. Now here's the crazy part. I was there last night. I drove down, walked in the front. It was packed, of course. Mm-hmm. And Ned's not hard to see, right? That big guy, he's a monster.
Right.
And I looked around and I asked the guy at the front. I didn't see anybody doing karaoke. So I asked the guy there at that little kiosk where they had the gifts and stuff sitting there, I guess like food donations. I said, "Are you guys doing karaoke tonight?" He goes, "I don't know, karaoke here tonight." I said, "Really?" I said, "Is there a big guy here, like 7 foot?" He goes, "I don't." He looked around. He goes, "I don't see one." So I walked around a little bit. I thought I saw a guy that looked just like John from Jagoff Productions and Promotions. I mean, and I walked up to him. It wasn't him, like a moron, right? And so I looked around, and then I had no signal on my phone, so I couldn't even text Ned. I turned around, left, thinking I was plotting the way back. How am I going to get his eyebrows? I had him rib him for doing that to me. And then he called me and said, "You guys were all down there. Where were you guys sitting?"
Oh, it's been a while. I wasn't.
Really?
It's been a while since I've been down there. Yeah. We met one time after Imagine Wrestling. Me, you, and Mike, and you were telling stories. And they were good. They were good stories. They were real good stories.
Yeah, got a whole bunch of those.
Yeah, but we have a bigger story, and the reason why you come on the Experience is this weekend in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, down at the David Lawrence Convention Center. Yep. You are going to be being there with a lot of your comrades because you're going to be doing this as I put it on the screen. You are going to be at the David Lawrence Convention Center this weekend, and I'm going to let you talk about what you're going to do and what the fans can expect coming this weekend.
Yeah, 43 years. I've just started my 43rd year on Thanksgiving Day in wrestling. I've never had it work out like this. Usually for Christmas and Thanksgiving, we're thousands of miles away. So I get this Christmas weekend in home, after sleeping in my bed. But like you said, everybody, Ric Flair, Sting, Lex Luger, JBL, Ron Simmons, Francine, Rhino, Kurt Angle. I mean, this thing is loaded. It's a mouthful. Animeverse / WrestleVerse Fest.
Yep.
At the Davis Lawrence. So for all the kids out there that love anime, all the illustrators and things will be there. And then, like you said, this really, a who's who of professional wrestling. I was just at Francine's house a few weeks ago. She'll now be coming into my home here in Pittsburgh. We'll be appearing both Saturday and Sunday at the Anime / WrestleVerse at David L. Lawrence. And then 6 o'clock, right after Saturday evening, right after the con closes, she and I will be heading over to Helltown Brewing, the old Have a Nice Day Cafe there on the Strip District, and having a hardcore happy hour. And I'm telling people, look out. I'm I'm home. I'm going to be drinking I may drink 2 whole hard seltzers that night. So
just 2? You can't get
2,
you can't get 3.
But between me and you, I'll probably leave a little bit in the second one.
Gotcha. So when you're doing these conventions, and this is a big convention because I've never seen this kind of big wrestling convention in the Pittsburgh area. I think this is probably the biggest one I've ever seen with all these array of talent coming in, and you're one of them, and doably noted so, because you should be there in this first one. And now they can get like Polaroids. You're gonna be able to meet. It's going to be like a meet and greet kind of setup for you.
Me and Francine are booths right next to each other, so you can get a picture with Francine, Queen of Extreme. With me, you can get one with us together. She'll have memorabilia. If I know Franny, she'll most likely bring in some old ring worn stuff. She has a million. Back in the day, she only wore every outfit one time, and then it went into the vault. So for any of the collectors out there, she's probably gonna have at least 1 or 2 of those going. But the selfies, we have 8x10s. We'll autograph your merchandise. What we're really getting lately, Bubba, is really, really cool. In a way, it makes you feel a little bit old, but it's amazing that this happens. This person looks like 40 years old will come up, and they'll have a snapshot that they'll hand to you. And you look at it, and it's me with some little kid 30 years ago taking a picture. It's them. It's them. They want to recreate that picture. And like I said, it makes you feel old a little bit, but what it really tells you is that those fans, that particular fan has followed your career for 30, 35 years. And, Franny and I've been doing this thank you part of the tour anymore, because the fans always, hey, thank you for entertainment and what you did, which is great. But it's really the other way around, because if guys, you know this, Bubba, you know the business. If they didn't watch, they'd have slapped my ass right off that channel and hired somebody else to bring in there. So the fact that I can do podcasts like this, or a convention like the WrestleVerse WrestleVerse this weekend, or that any bar in Pittsburgh wants to have a hardcore happy hour with me and Francine, it's mind-blowing. It's for me, having grown up in Pittsburgh, and I say, anybody that's from here will tell you this, Pittsburgh is by far the greatest sports town on the planet. The fans
I agree.
So committed.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Pittsburgh. It's great. And to be part of that, people always ask me things like, hey, who's on Mount Rushmore with you? I said, well, I'm not, because I can name about 50 guys. Look at the litany of the guys that you and I grew up watching, and then getting to meet like Bruno and Dominic, and then just beyond that, the Harley races and the Ricky Steamboats and the Ric Flairs, and you just keep on going. It's mind-boggling that we've been able to carve out this career, and very humbling. I just found out this past couple weeks ago that I will be inducted into the 2026 Beaver County Sports Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Joe Namath, Mike Ditka, Tony Dorsett, Pistol Pete Maravich, Ty Law, Sean Gilbert, and the list just goes on. And when they called me, I'm thinking, okay, who's ribbing me? Like somebody's pulling my leg here. But boy, what an honor! It's to me. I don't know if you've seen my comments. I am nothing against it, but I have no desire to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Because about that much of my career was spent in WWF, or now WWE. I'm very proud of the fact that I have had a 43-year career, and I've never been on a WrestleMania. I was broken into the business. You knew Bruno. You knew Dominic.
Yes, I did.
These were good men. I mean,
yes,
outside of the business, they were just good human being men. And to have learned from those legends, at some point, I remember feeling the weight of that. Now it's time to show these guys that you learned something and you represent the industry well from where they came. And so far, so good. I've been really, really blessed as that snot-nosed kid that grew up in Pulaski Township, Pennsylvania, New Brighton, in Beaver County, to have actually gotten my toe in that door with all those notables I've mentioned and a million more, and somehow was able to survive it. I remember the first night Mick Foley and I, who was also trained by Dominic, were on a show, and the Valiant brothers were there. The Samoans were there. David and Bruno Sammartino were there. Dominic, of course, was there. And we're looking around, and Mick looks over at me and whispers, like, how the hell did we get in here? What are we doing here? Like, because we clearly don't belong here, right? Like, we're the janitors on the show or something. But I mean, I'm so proud of Mick and what he's accomplished in the business.
Yes.
Love him like a brother. I'm sure he would say the same about me. But we've had, and other guys like Brian Hildebrand, Mark Curtis, died way too young. Cody Michaels, who would have been a huge star in the business had he not broken his neck. Man, these are guys that I've been dear friends with for the vast portion of those 43 years. And I know that right now, if I would call any of those guys, that they would be right here if I needed them, and vice versa. So,
and that's a good thing, and that's a good thing in the wrestling business when you have guys that you can make a call right now, and you've been in the business over 4 decades, and you can make a call, and they can come, and that's a brotherhood that people that aren't in this business don't seem to understand.
Yeah, well, it's when you're out running the roads, I think the fans today understand a little better than when we first got in, because of all the behind scenes and the internet and everything.
Sure.
But when you stop and think, I remember when Dominic had his school, we hadn't yet gone out on the road, but Steve Corson from the Pittsburgh Steelers, at the time he played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had just left Pittsburgh and was coming into pro wrestling, or wanted to. So he came to the gym, and Dominic worked with him. And the first thing Dominic would do would make you run the ropes for 3 minutes, full blast. And he couldn't make it. He lasted like 2 minutes, and he just fell over. Now, he didn't know at the time that he had the whole heart issue and everything.
Right.
But I remember this guy was a big time NFL ball player.
Big, huge Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, Super Bowl champion, right? And when he started finding out that wrestling had no off season, that we were on the road 350 days a year, he's like, "What the hell, you guys? Are you nuts?" And I never thought of it. Like, there's guys from the NFL. Look at it. I remember in WCW, when Rodman and all those guys, Malone, all came in.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. They were looking at us like we had 3 heads. Like, how the hell do you guys do that? It's just what we always done. But when you're out there running those roads, you end up sick like you do at home. You get homesick, but obviously, you miss your kids' first steps, first words, first birthdays, and it's a really tough on marriages, obviously. But so you end up either forging those kind of relationships, friendships with the guys on the road,
right?
To help keep yourself sane. Those guys, because of how deep those friendships go, that would never be rattled. And like I said, I could count on them at any time and they me. And I value that. It's a really, really nice offshoot of what we do.
Well, and nowadays the independent scene around here in Western and Central Pennsylvania is so huge. Yep. So, you going to these shows and giving back to these younger guys is a thing of beauty. And that's something that should be handed down. It should be handed down anyway to keep the new generation, keeping it prosper here. And it's very, very hot around here now. It is very hot, and it's very, very good. So
I've been on I was on a show last month up in West Newton, and I hadn't been there in years. And I love watching. The first thing is there's nobody there because they're getting rich, right? They're there because they love the business. They love our sport.
Right.
And so when you realize that and you see that same affinity that I had as a 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader, I mean, my friends and we love professional wrestling, not past tense, love professional wrestling. And then to get to meet Dominic and Bruno and all those guys. There's a point when it really does settle into your brain that, my God, I met Bruno Sammartino. When I was at his funeral, I walked up and I said to his wife, I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I didn't think Bruno could die. And she looked at me and she said, we all thought that. And so when you see that passing and the reverence that Pittsburgh had for guys like Dominic and Bruno.
Well, Bruno was the modern day superhero. So, I'm 54 years old, and when I met Bruno, the respect that he given me, that I tell everybody. I mean, he's like, you call me Mr. You call me Bruno, not Mr. Sammartino, and that's And then when you're working in front of Bruno, you're all nervous as all hell, and you have no idea what's going on. And then he was hanging out with Dominic, so it was those two. You know what I mean? So it was kind of crazy.
I get it. It's the funny thing I always tell about Bruno is I've never seen or heard Bruno swear. I'm sure he probably did in his life, but he would say things like, I'll give you an example at the Mark Curtis, Brian Hildebrand show in Rostraver. I honestly, we should have had one of those every weekend because Brian would still be here. As sick as he was, man, he was alive that day, just soaking it in. And about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm helping set the ring up and supervising, and I see something quick out of the corner of my eye.
Wait! You were doing what? Hold up, because
supervising, setting the ring up.
It's setting the ring up, stuff that other people probably don't do, and this is coming from you, setting a ring up.
Look, Dominic made us do that, right? I mean, that was, and I'm glad I did, because it as my career would go on, and I realized how lucky I am. I get to just show up at the building and climb into the ring. Don't have to set it up or whatever. But I see it's 1 o'clock, so like no emergency. I see something real quick, and I turn, and it's Cody Michaels, eyes bugging out of his head, running at a full blast. He goes back down. He goes, "Man, you better get back here." I go, "What's going on?" He goes, "You better get back here right away." I said, "What's going on?" He goes, "Bruno's got Mark Madden pinned against the wall." So I take off running, and I get back there. Now, at the time, Mark probably easily more than double his size.
Sure.
But what was crazy was there was not a hair on Bruno's body touching Madden. Madden was up against the wall like a sheet of paper. And Bruno's face was beet red, the veins popping out of his forehead and neck. And here's what he's saying: "You don't even know me, and doggone it, why do you say these things?" And I'd never seen somebody that mad not cuss. And I sort of blurted out. I didn't even think of it. I said, "Come on, Bruno, let one fucking F-bomb fly." And he turned his head, and Madden took off running, right? Skedaddled right out of there. And after he was gone, Bruno sort of chuckled to himself like, "That's pretty ridiculous." But that again, those were these guys. You've had the pleasure of meeting those guys. I had the pleasure and luxury of meeting those guys and learning from those guys. And my God, I'd love to be 20 again. I'm thankful I was 20 when I was.
If you were 20 now, with the social media being the way it was, how do you think that would just say hypothetically in a what if it would just made your career, because the way you talked, the way you carried yourself in and out of the ring would have just added more to what you were doing back before this social media stuff?
Possibly, or it could have buried you as well, right? I mean,
that's true too.
When you look back at the NWA belt throwdown, I was just working on the posters. RF Video has a special for the convention where they have a poster, and I handwrite the speech out and then sign it and date it. And as I'm writing it out, and I'm over and over again, it's coming back fresher and fresher in my head. And I remember thinking to myself that night, boy, this could blow up in our face. Like this could be like the proverbial shit bomb, And thank God it wasn't. Thank God it did put ECW on the map, and it did work. Because again, with the social media, if we had it back then, it was in its infancy then, but nothing like it is today.
Right.
You could have had a whole. Because let's face it, NWA at the time was the longest lineage title in history. There were a lot of people that were loyal to that and loved that company for rightful reasons. So this was such a left field act of subterfuge that I could see where, especially how the internet is today. If you go on and say, "Oh man, it's looking a little crappy out today," and what the hell do you mean it's coming crappy? Saying that you're an asshole. So it could have buried, but I think we're all. We succeeded into the business because of the time we were in and the way we were taught. If we were in the business today, we'd be taught like today. And so it'd probably be a little more well-versed at it.
It was probably different because I seen you many, many years ago when I worked security for the Break the Barrier show at the ECW Arena. Yeah. And I seen you cut a promo because that's what you did that day during that show.
Right.
And it was a promo, and it was a promo like no other. And you were you were in your glory, and you were getting the chance, and you were doing what you did. but just seeing you kind of promo live like that in the arena at ECW during a Break the Barrier show, which never ever happened before when you had 13 to 14 different companies. And I don't know if it'll ever happen again, but I would hope and maybe you could be the force in Western Pencil and Central Pennsylvania to get some kind of huge, big company thing from all the companies, just get together and just do something for a show and a convention and do something for the Pittsburgh area and Western Pennsylvania in a whole. That's been part of my dream for a long time, and I don't know how to get it started. Yeah, but I'm talking to one of the best right here. So
mine too. Yeah, but here's the thing: when and I'm sure everybody listening has heard me go over these numbers before, so I'm sorry to bore them again. When the three companies were in business in the '90s, there was an average weekly viewership just in America. Forget Canada, Mexico, the rest of the planet. Just in America, 48 to 52 million fans watching some version of one of those three companies. 2 weeks ago was the last time I checked the ratings, and that was the first time in a while. WWF, I still say F. They did 1.6 million viewers, and AEW did like 390,000. So let's be kind and let's double it for them. So we're talking about roughly 3 to 3.5 million viewers. Somewhere along the line, we've lost 48.5 to 49 million viewers.
Exactly.
And those, it's one of the old things that the old timers say in business. Their money is as green as anybody else's. So why nobody is paying any attention to that 48 million people sitting over there is beyond me. Some people love vanilla, some love chocolate, some like white cherry, right? Give the different flavors, and that way, if I'm a WWF guy or E guy, I can watch that product. If somebody that likes white cherry, there's a product for ECW fans. I don't know, and I don't want to be too critical of the business because understand, please know, I'm not being critical of the kids today in the business. They don't know any better. They weren't in the ring with those guys like I was every night. Right. So their athleticism is jaw dropping. I mean, we were more athletic than say Bruno's generation was, but these kids are like exponentially more so than we were. And the difference is that nothing they do makes any sense. The old song goes, the ankle bone's connected to the shin bone's connected to the knee bone. You can't say, well, I'm going to connect my ankle bone to my neck bone, right? Well, you're missing a whole bunch in the middle there. If somebody would teach these kids that way, just hold them. It's not a question of going out. Never once in my career did I go out and just do every move I knew as quickly as I could do it. It had to fit into the story that was being told. I watched a few months ago. I won't say the kid's name. It's irrelevant. Was going so fast that he ran out of moves, and so he started doing the moves over again.
Oh, that's not good.
And I was watching, and I was mortified for the kid. I thought, my God in heaven. Like, first of all, that wouldn't have gone well when I was in that stage of my career. Bill Watts and those guys, they were very helpful, but they were also very critical if you were a moron. And they didn't suffer fools well. But back to what I was saying, there's a lot of fans out there that may not like the WWE approach to the cartoony side of wrestling. There's some that may not like the old ECW hardcore style. That's fine. As long as the product is available, then I can decide, do I like white cherry? Do I like vanilla? Do I like chocolate or pistachio? Nobody's giving that group, that massive group that's sitting out there. And here's the thing, those fans have become jaded. They got behind ECW in a big way. And for 7 years, we were able to divert that mighty Mississippi just a little bit, known as the wrestling business. But we ultimately failed. Ring of Honor, couple decades they've been around. Not quite there. TNA, sort of.
Do you think, I know we're getting off a tangent here, but do you think someone like should actually try to get the reins and create storylines for people that the 48 or the 45 million to be invested, because they could do 75 moves, but if nobody's invested in that, you lost them. Like the storylines and the passion of the business.
Remember, I told you, at the top of this, thanking the fans for watching us, because if they didn't, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on your show right now, and I wouldn't be at this convention or Helltown Brewing on Saturday night. Yes, it is incumbent on us, the guardians of the industry, just like Dominic and Bruno's generation did for us to go out and be the acolytes that spread that word. If the kid, like Sabu, because he was the closest in our generation that approximated like what these kids do.
Right.
He hated working with me initially, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I finally sat down and I said, like, what's going on? And he said, you never let me do my shit. And I'm thinking, I don't know, every night I work with you, you do your shit, And so it didn't make sense to me. And then I realized what he meant. I didn't let him do it when he wanted to do it, because every fan in that building knew what Sabu was capable of. As soon as he puts you on that table, he climbs the top rope, the place is getting ready to lose its mind, right? It's, cut him off. Don't give it to him. And each time the crowd would come down, but each time you could feel the pressure build and build and build. And the exact words is what I used to say to him every time we'd work. Hit your ship, big boy. Time to hit it. And as soon as he did, the place would explode. These kids, they'll just go out and do the move and then do it again and then do it again and again. And they can't wonder, they keep wondering why the crowd is not getting behind them. Oftentimes they work too fast. They don't give the fans a chance to react. I was one of those kids that when I was a mark that I loved the heels, even though I love Bruno and stuff. But I was a bad guy. I loved, and if I'm getting ready to pop because the bad guy just got something up, by the time I get to my feet and go to say something, the baby face is now on top. You're not giving me the chance to react and get in there. These are the little acumens that we gained by working with all those people that the kids would do well for today. But bottom line is, you have, what difference is there of AEW to WWE or Ring of Honor or TNA? I mean, there's minute differences, but pretty much what you see on one, you'll see on all.
It's all vanilla. It's all vanilla. Like,
bingo. Yeah. No pistachio, no white cherry, right? And no chocolate. Please, somebody out there, give a variety and let the viewer decide what they're gonna eat. If you and I have hamburger stands and you're killing, your hamburgers are way better than mine, you're killing it on the other stand. When I come out to work tomorrow, I'm probably gonna be selling hot dogs. I'm gonna try something different because I can't beat you in hamburgers, so I'll try hot dogs. Nobody has tried hot dogs, and I'm gonna just invoke an old Bill Wattsism here. This ain't rocket science. We ain't curing cancer. Black hat, white hat, that's wrestling. Everybody.
But why can't they do that? Why can't they do that?
Well, it's more difficult to. Well, I was going to say it's more difficult to do it. It's more difficult to learn calling a match in the ring. I'm sure you've been in the dressing rooms. These kids came, Bulldog. We're going to lock up. And then you do this to me, and on the third time, I'll do this back to you. And they go over it and over it and over it, and they go out and regurgitate it out there. And every single time, watch the match. At some point, you're going to see this face. They can't remember what's next. They're blank. And if you're calling it in the ring, you don't need to remember what's next. Are we in the heat? Are we in the shine? Are we in the go home? Or are we in the comeback? Just get right back on track. These kids could do it. Nobody's making them do it. If you don't force somebody to learn how to turn the screw, why learn how to turn the screw? Somebody always turns it for me.
Yeah, I see your point, and I just don't think fans are invested. I mean, I'm a big, huge. The only reason why I watched the last week main event was because of Cena, because that was nostalgic and that was it. But I haven't watched it in the last couple of months because it's just not appealing to me. Like, I will go to Imagine Wrestling and see the steel cage match because that company and other companies like that bust their ass and do what they need to do, and they're going to get my money. But it just seems around here in the area, for me, I just feel like, oh my God, you got 4 companies running on the same night. Why can't everybody just come together? And I
death of 1,000 cuts. Yeah.
Work together. I mean,
right. I mean, it hurts the boys. It hurts the fans because the fans are being forced to make a decision. I don't know. It's to me, when I look at my industry, and by the way, this is every one of my peers the same thing. I can't imagine Terry Bradshaw not watching the Steelers if he's at home on a Sunday. I can't imagine Jerome Bettis or Troy Polamalu.
They're all watching
Ben
the Steelers.
Of course, they're all watching, right?
Yep.
In my generation, if you ask somebody, did you watch any of the shows this past week? They're like, oh, no, I was on the road, or I was doing this, or I was doing that. Because I feel like an NFL football player watching Tiddlywinks, or vice versa. It's not what we did.
Right.
But I also, the eternal optimist in me is dying to see what these kids could produce if somebody just took them by the nose, like we had done for us. Little known secret here to a lot of the fans: anybody that goes to a wrestling school, especially any reputable school, when you come out of that school, you know how to do the moves. The moves, it's not a question of knowing how to do the moves. It's a question of, when do you do the move? When don't you do the move? When do you speed up? When do you slow down? When do you grab the hold? When do you find the camera? Those are the things that you learn when you're working with veterans on the road. And, other if before that, you got your back to the camera the whole time and not even paying attention. The eternal optimist in me, it just is dying to see what these kids with this just jaw-dropping athleticism, what they would produce if they just put a little bit of that formula in. And it's not some secret, the secrets of the cosmos. Shane Douglas knows the secrets of life. I know the secret of a good wrestling match. And the formula, I've never seen the formula imposed that it's not worked. And the formula is simple. The heel knows how to get heat. The babyface knows how to shine. And the storyline is written in a way that the fans can comprehend it. It's not shooting above their head, nor is it shooting below them. It makes them think a little bit. And when done properly and everybody plays their proper rules in that, it works every single time. I've just not seen it in 20 years.
Well, I know you got to go, but I have one more question for you. Do you think anybody would ever contact you to be be a booker or something in a why?
No.
Why won't they? Because you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Too controversial. I've worked in my career. I learned this, by the way, from Muhammad Ali. At first couple years in ECW, we were at a NAPFI convention out in Vegas. And I looked down and there's Muhammad Ali. I'm like, holy crap. I go walking right down. Very personable guy. He had just started to get the shakes a little bit. So he was still pretty cogent. And, I told him, I said, like, don't hate me for this. I said, when I was a kid, I wanted everybody you fought to knock your head off the sword. He started laughing. He goes, yeah, and the other half wanted me to win. He said, but everybody bought a ticket. So when you see the franchise shirt, both God and the devil have dibs on his soul, say that's right from Muhammad Ali. Not that saying, just from that philosophy. It's what keeps me sane when something bothers me, I can't just go, forget about it and let's go on to something else. It scratches, it just won't go away. So for me in wrestling, to keep myself, when you're on the road 355 days a year, to keep myself sane, to not go crazy of watching the same thing again, I would start to talk to the director. Why are you shooting that way? Why are the lights like that? Dusty, why are you putting that guy over on that guy or that woman over on that woman? I just soaked myself in the industry. And I'd always said I wanted to learn every aspect about wrestling before I got out, including being a heel, which, blonde hair, blue eyed guys didn't get to be back then. And so I think for the general concept is most people, I know the character that I've played, which thankfully is not me, is so over the top and so cunning and all those things that I think people, because of the character, and I'll give you an example. I had gone to an AEW show with Big Ned, I don't know, a year and a half ago, maybe longer. I lose track of time. But I was looking for Tommy Dreamer all night, and we just kept missing him. And so somebody said, oh, I just left him. He's up in catering. So Ned and I run to the elevator. We go up, and as we're going to the elevator, I see hallway to my right, and at the end of the door closed, Mr. Khan, Mr. Tony Khan on the door. So I went, to watch the show. At the end of the night, I said to a friend of mine, "Can you introduce me to Tony? I just want to say, hey, thanks for letting us come in. Nice meeting you," that kind of thing.
Sure.
And he goes, "Sure, follow me." So I'm walking behind him, and as he walks towards that hallway, he walks into. I'm like 5-6 feet behind him. He stops in his tracks, and his head from behind goes, "Huh." He like sort of says "huh" to himself. His head falls to the side. I said, "What?" And I come up behind him. He goes, "His door's closed." I said, "His door's been closed all night." He went, "His door's been closed all night?" I said, "Well, since we went up to the thing." He goes, "Huh." A couple of weeks later, he called me back. He goes, "You're never going to believe this. I know why his door was closed." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "He heard that you were in the building and he's afraid to death of you."
Why?
I went, "What?" Because he used to come to the ECW arena as a teenager and saw that character. And I'm like, "You run a wrestling company." Like, so there lies what's wrong. I think part of what's wrong with the product today.
So your prestige and you being who you were in the ring, he figured you were like that in real life, knowing
Apparently.
Tony, but he never would ask you and it's like, hey Shane, nice to meet you. Have you ever met him one-on-one ever?
No, not that I recall. I guess he thinks I'd throw him down and break his neck or something, because that's what I do in the ring. It's bizarre to me. So to answer, long way of answering your question, I don't think anybody would. And not that I'm pulling for myself, but somebody would be well served to do that, because I'm somebody that studied my industry for the last 40 plus years. And
I just don't understand that, why people like yourself that know the ins and outs of the because old school is always the best school in my eyes. And we're not seeing that, and the stories aren't being told, and you could tell people, hey, look, and you got fans that are invested. If fans are invested with the storylines, to me, it doesn't matter if they're doing 17 Hurricane Ranas and 17 flips.
Correct. You don't need to. Dominic, and I'll leave you with this. About 6 months before Dominic died, my son loved going to Dominic's house because he wanted me and Dominic to tell him what the wrestlers were doing right and wrong. And I kept hearing this chuckle from I look over at my son, and he's just staring at the TV. And and I finally look over and he goes, like, with his head real caught, he goes like, look at Dominic. So I look over at Dominic, and Dominic's sitting there like this. I went, "Dominic, close up. You're going to catch flies." And he went, "Well, motherfucker, they're working 10 times harder to get 10 times less reaction." I said, "Welcome to wrestling in 2021.
He didn't like it at all, probably.
No, but he was spot on right. Once the kids figure out that they can take 10 times less bumps and do far less physically, they'll have a lot more fun in the ring. They'll have a lot less mileage on their body when they get to this age. But I wouldn't have known it either if I hadn't been in the business when I was at the age I was in the business. And like I said, I'd love to be 20 again, but I'm so thankful I was 20 when I was 20.
Right. But you know what? I know you got to go, and I want to tell everybody this weekend, go ahead and tell everybody once again what you're doing this weekend and why you came on today. And I do appreciate you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Appreciate the platform. This weekend, the Queen of Extreme, Francine, and I, and a whole lot of our friends like Rhino and Sting and Lex Luger and JBL and Ron Simmons and Trish Stratus. And just keep going on and on and on. We'll be at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center this Saturday and Sunday. I believe it starts at 11 o'clock. Not quite sure on that, but I know it goes till 6 p.m. Right. And immediately after on Saturday night, Francine and I will be going over with a bunch of our friends to Helltown Brewing, about a quarter mile away on the strip, down in the Strip District, to have hardcore happy hour. It says 6 to 8, but the bar's already told us to stay as long as you like. So we're hoping fans come by to have a Christmas drink with us, no cover charge. Band will be playing. There will be games, autographs. It's going to be a big, big shindig. Ned Rolsma, who played Marcus, I think his last name, on the show How I Met Your Mother. Oh my God, me and names I'm so bad with. But he played the brother of the main character on there. He's going to kill me for not knowing the name of his character, but he'll be hosting the party. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, no cover charge. Come down, have a good time. I have a few drinks with us. Here's some
And that's it right there. There's the poster right there, guys. You guys can check it out. It's going to be the first, I think this is the first ever big, huge WrestleCon like this in Pittsburgh that ever happened. The franchise, Shane Douglas, is a part of it. There is over 20 professional wrestling superstars.
Yes.
Trish Stratus, Lita. There is a lot of
Lita,
it is the last appearance of Sting in his face paint. That is what's going to be happening. If you get your tickets, go to the door, hang out. Shane will be down there, get some autographs with the franchise. I know Shane, you're busy, and and I appreciate you coming on the Experience
Thank
show.
you.
And like I said, you have an open invite. Anything you want to talk about, any other stuff that you need to bring to the format, you have an open platform on this podcast. You just get a hold of me, and you can come on anytime, brother. So
very much appreciate it. And I know you're busy Saturday, but if you can shake loose, please come down and have a little sarsaparilla with us.
Little sarsaparilla is good sometimes, boss. But Shane, God bless you, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry
if I don't
Christmas,
see you. And like I said, this platform, you got an open invite to the Experience, and it's an honor to have former ECW world champion, a Pittsburgh icon, and you are to us older. I'm 54 years old, and to me, I respect the hell out of you, brother. And I'm not kissing any. I don't kiss your ass.
I get you.
You know what I mean? Like, I watched ECW when I was working at a bar, and it was the shit, man. So it was good. It was good. So thank you so much. And I'm gonna let you get back. Merry Christmas. I'm gonna let you get back to doing what you're doing. Everybody, stop in WrestleVerse Fest this Saturday. To Shane, the franchise Douglas will be in the house. Franchise, thank you so much, and God bless.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.